I've watched football long enough to know one thing. Greatness doesn't disappear forever. It fades, it struggles, it gets questioned. But when it returns, you can feel it. And right now, there's a feeling around Barcelona again. A feeling that something big is happening. A feeling that maybe, just maybe, they are coming back to the top of European football. But here's the real question. Are Barcelona officially back as a European powerhouse? Or are we getting carried away? Because in football, hype is easy. But dominance has to be proven. But before we dive into this juicy topic, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any epic football breakdowns. Let's evaluate Barcelona's dominant performances in certain big games. Let me start with what caught everyone's attention. That performance, that statement. Barcelona didn't just beat Newcastle United, they destroyed them. And there's a difference. Because winning a game can come from luck, from a moment, from a mistake. But domination is intentional. It's when one team imposes their will so strongly that the opponent has no answer. And that's exactly what I saw. Barcelona weren't reacting, they were controlling. Despite Newcastle's resistance in the first half, sparked by Elanga's 2 clinical goals, it ultimately meant nothing. Because when the game truly opened up, Barcelona took over. What followed in the second half wasn't just a response, it was a storm. Relentless pressure, wave after wave of attack, control that suffocated every bit of belief Newcastle had built. And in that moment, they didn't just face a team. They felt the full force of the Camp Nou, a stadium that doesn't just host football, it amplifies it, where the energy, the history, the noise, all collide to create something overwhelming, almost unreal. Newcastle didn't just lose control of the game, they were consumed by it. Every phase of the game felt like it belonged to them. The tempo, the movement, the decisions, everything. And when you look closer, you start to see the individuals driving it. Pedri, dictating the rhythm like a metronome. Always available, always calm, always one step ahead. Lamine Yamal, fearless. Taking on defenders, creating chaos, playing like pressure doesn't exist. And defensively? Composed, organized, alert. This wasn't just attack, this was a complete performance. And this is important because this isn't just a one-off. We've seen this pattern already. That 3-0 win against Atletico Madrid in the Copa del Rey second leg, that game was control at the highest level. Atletico came in with their usual compact shape, but Barcelona stretched them, pulled them apart, and exposed the gaps. Pedri and the midfield kept the ball moving effortlessly, while the front line kept asking questions Atletico couldn't answer. And at the back? Discipline. No unnecessary risks, no cheap chances conceded. It was the kind of performance that suffocates a team like Atletico. And even though the scoreline wasn't enough to send Barcelona through to the Copa del Rey final, the performance itself told a different story. It was dominant, controlled, and convincing. The kind of display that proves it was no fluke, but a clear reflection of a team growing into something serious. Then the 3-2 victory over Real Madrid in the Supercopa de España. That's where you saw mentality. Because games against Madrid aren't just about tactics, they're about nerve. And Barcelona didn't blink. Lamine Yamal stepping up on the big stage, playing with confidence beyond his years. Pedri again, controlling chaos, slowing things down when it mattered. And that perfectly weighted defense-splitting pass that led to Lewandowski's goal, pure intelligence, pure class. Rafinha, decisive. 2 goals when it mattered most. Not just finishing, but stepping up as the difference maker, the player who turned pressure into points. And Lewandowski, doing what he does best, reading the moment, timing the run, and finishing with authority. That's not luck. That's quality showing up in big moments, despite his age. And every time Madrid pushed, Barcelona responded. Not panicking, not retreating, but playing. That's a team that trusts itself. And now this performance against Newcastle. High intensity, sharp combinations, confidence on and off the ball. That's not luck. That's identity. Because big teams don't just win games. They send messages. They make opponents feel small. They make Europe watch and say, something is happening here. And right now, Barcelona are not just winning, they are making statements. Another aspect to evaluate is Barcelona's perfect blend of youth plus experience. What makes this Barcelona team even more dangerous is the balance. Because when I look at this squad, I don't just see talent. I see a perfect combination. On one side, you have youth, a generation rising. Pedri, the orchestrator. Lamine Yamal, fearless and electric. Marc Bernal and Marc Casado, composed beyond their years. Alejandro Balde, relentless down the flank. Pau Cubarsí, calm, commanding, unshaken. Fermín López, energy and intent in every movement. Gerard Martin and Rooney, raw, hungry, ready. Joan, leadership personified, a guiding force on the pitch. It's not just youth, it's a wave. All fearless, unpredictable, full of energy. Players who don't feel pressure. They embrace it. And then, on the other side, you have experience. Rafinha, decisive, a game changer at critical moments. Lewandowski, the predator in the box, every movement calculated to perfection. Ferran Torres, pace, vision, and the killer instinct. Marcus Rashford, explosive, relentless, impossible to ignore. Dani Olmo and Frankie de Jong, masters of control, dictating the rhythm. Eric Garcia and Araujo, rock solid at the back, unyielding. Szczesny, the last line of defense, calm under fire. João Cancelo, elegance in motion, an architect on the flank. It's not just experience. It's a fortress, a mentor, a presence that commands respect. Calm, intelligent, clinical. Players who understand the game on a deeper level. Players who have been there before. And together with the youth, it's a perfect storm, because youth brings chaos, and experience brings control. And when you mix both, you get a team that can hurt you in every possible way. This is the same formula that made Barcelona dominant in the past. And now, I'm starting to see it again. A team that is not just talented, but balanced. And in football, balance wins everything. Another point to consider is the return of Barcelona's strong team identity. Now this part is emotional. Because for years, Barcelona lost their identity. They were winning games sometimes, but they didn't feel like Barcelona. The magic was missing. That rhythm, that flow, that signature style, it wasn't there anymore. But now, when I watch them play, I recognize them again. The quick passing, the positional intelligence, the constant movement. It's not random, it's structured, it's intentional, it's beautiful. And this is what made Barcelona different from every other team. They didn't just win, they dominated with style. They controlled games like chess matches. And now, that identity is coming back. This is not just about results anymore. This is about philosophy. And when Barcelona play with identity, they become something else entirely. Another aspect to be considered is Barcelona's mentality shift. But maybe the biggest transformation is not tactical, it's mental. Because talent was never the problem. The problem was belief. There was a time when Barcelona looked fragile. Under pressure, they collapsed. In big moments, they hesitated. But now, I see something different. I see players stepping up in pressure situations. I see composure when the game gets chaotic. I see intelligence in decision-making. I see unity. And that matters more than anything else. Because football at the highest level is not just about skill. It's about mentality. The ability to stay calm when everything is on the line. The ability to ignore the noise, ignore the pressure, and deliver. And right now, Barcelona look composed. They look ruthless. And that shift is what separates good teams from great ones. Another aspect is competing for the biggest prize. Now let's talk about the ultimate test, the UEFA Champions League. Because this is where everything is decided. You can dominate your league, you can play beautiful football, but in Europe, there is only one standard, and that is winning. But before you win, you have to suffer. You have to compete. You have to belong. Because knights in Europe don't forgive weakness. They expose it. And FC Barcelona know that better than most. There was a time when Barcelona weren't just competing, they were owning Europe. The era of Lionel Messi, magic, dominance, fear. Champions League nights at the Camp Nou felt inevitable. Quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, that was the standard. Then, everything changed. Messi left, and suddenly, Barcelona didn't just fall short in Europe. They disappeared. From the Champions League to the UEFA Europa League, a fall from the elite into uncertainty. Thursday nights instead of Tuesdays and Wednesdays, not competing with the best, but trying to find themselves again. Seasons passed, doubt grew, and Europe stopped fearing Barcelona. But great clubs don't stay down forever. Slowly, painfully, Barcelona climbed back into the Champions League, back into relevance. And then came a new chapter under Hansi Flick. In his very first season, Barcelona didn't just return, they announced themselves. A run to the semi-finals. Their first since that painful night against Liverpool FC in 2019. A statement, a reminder, a warning, and now, this season, they look even sharper, more mature, more dangerous, more ready. The road ahead? Not easy. Atletico Madrid stand in their way, and possibly Arsenal FC waiting beyond. Heavyweight battles, real tests, the kind that define legacies. But this is the point. Barcelona are back in these moments, back in the biggest games, back under the brightest lights, back where pressure creates heroes and exposes pretenders, because you cannot be called a European powerhouse if you are not part of these nights. And now, Barcelona are no longer watching from a distance. They are inside the storm again, competing, fighting, believing. And that is more than progress. That is a warning to Europe. Barcelona are back. But now, let's slow things down, because this is where the doubts begin. A lot of football fans out there, including myself, would argue that FC Barcelona isn't officially back as a European powerhouse. One of the strongest arguments? It's simply too early to declare. As exciting as this looks, I have to be honest with myself. It might be too early, because football has shown us this many times. One good season is not enough. Form can come and go. Momentum can disappear. But greatness is consistent. It lasts. It repeats itself, season after season. And right now, Barcelona are still in the early stages of this resurgence. So the question is not, can they do it? The question is, can they keep doing it? Because being back means staying there. Another strong argument, they haven't won the UEFA Champions League yet. Let's be real. In Europe, there is one trophy that defines everything, the UEFA Champions League. You can impress, you can dominate games, but until you lift that trophy, doubts will always exist. Because history doesn't remember potential. It remembers winners, and for FC Barcelona, the last time they stood at the top of Europe was 2015, a decade ago. Since then, the closest they've come was 2019, and then again last season, 2025. Close, but not enough. So until Barcelona win it again, the conversation remains open. One argument that leaves a heavy question mark on their return as a European powerhouse is this: they're still unproven against elite giants. There's another layer to this, because beating strong teams is good, but beating the absolute elite? That's different. The real test comes against the biggest clubs in Europe, the teams that don't panic, the teams that punish every mistake. That's where legacies are built. And until FC Barcelona consistently beat those teams, there will always be questions, because when you look closer, the results against elite opposition still raise doubts. A 2-1 loss at home to Paris Saint-Germain, even without key names like Dembélé, Neves, Kvaratskhelia, and Doué. A heavy 3-0 defeat to Chelsea FC at Stamford Bridge. A 2-1 loss to Real Madrid at the Bernabeu in the first El Clasico of the season. And then the biggest one, a heartbreaking 7-6 aggregate loss to Inter Milan in the Champions League semi-finals last season. Close fights, big moments, but not enough control, not enough dominance. And at this level, those fine margins are everything. So until Barcelona turn these moments into victories against Europe's very best, the doubt won't disappear. One other major argument that keeps coming up is this: the defensive stability is still a question mark. A concern I can't ignore, because attacking football excites fans, but defense wins titles. And while Barcelona look incredible going forward, there are still moments where they look vulnerable, moments where things feel unstable. And against elite opposition, those moments are punished instantly. So the question remains, can they stay solid when it matters most? We've seen games where they look open, moments where the backline gets exposed, situations where they lose control under pressure, and in Europe, that's fatal. Because the true powerhouses, teams like Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, know how to suffer, defend, and manage chaos. Until Barcelona show that same level of defensive maturity, there will always be that lingering doubt. One big question mark on their return as a European powerhouse is this: their financial and squad depth concerns. Finally, there's the reality of the squad itself, because a long season is unforgiving. Injuries happen, fatigue builds, pressure increases, and when those challenges come, depth becomes everything. And right now, compared to some of the top clubs in Europe, FC Barcelona might still be lacking in that area. Because when you look closely at FC Barcelona's squad, one thing becomes crystal clear: some key players still lack true reinforcements. Joan Garcia, a top-level goalkeeper, but there's no equally reliable replacement. Szczesny, though experienced, can be clumsy and struggled after coming out of retirement to cover Ter Stegen's knee injury. Iñaki Peña is on loan at Elche and still not a formidable backup. Ronald Araujo, the defensive anchor. His absence exposes the backline physically and structurally. While he has flaws, his strength and presence are unmatched, even compared to someone like Íñigo Martínez, who left for Al Nassr earlier this season. Pedri, the heartbeat of the midfield. He controls tempo and creativity in a way that makes him truly irreplaceable. No one else in the squad offers his profile or vision. Frenkie de Jong, the engine for ball progression from deep. Bernal has filled in recently but lacks elite experience. Casado is an option, yet still not a worthy reinforcement at the highest level. Robert Lewandowski, still Barcelona's best striker, despite aging and losing some of his killer instinct. Ferran Torres is promising, but he can't fully replicate Lewandowski's presence in the box. Lamine Yamal, a magician in 1v1 situations with unmatched creativity on the wing. Rooney looks promising, but at the moment, Yamal is light years ahead, even though he's younger. Rafinha, Pure energy, strength, and endurance. The powerhouse of the team. Rashford could be a future alternative, but Rafinha's intensity and consistency on the pitch remain unmatched. Other players lacking perfect backups, Kubasi and Koundé, whose absence or drop in form would still create gaps in the squad. These aren't just good players, they're system-defining players. And when one of them is missing, the structure shifts, the level drops, the threat reduces, because at the highest level, you don't just need depth, you need equivalent quality depth. And that could be the difference between competing and truly winning the UEFA Champions League. Final verdict. So now, we return to the question, is Barcelona officially back as a European powerhouse? For me, they are not fully back yet, but they are very close, closer than they've been in years, because this doesn't feel like a moment. It feels like a process, a rebuild, a rise. Barcelona are not just improving, they are approaching elite status again, but to be officially back, they must dominate Europe, not just impress it. And now I ask you, do you think Barcelona are officially back, or is it still too early to say? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Barcelona is truly back as a European powerhouse? Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into football's biggest stories.